Hello YouTube, welcome along to this Essential Blues. Now before we get into all of the flashy stuff, all that twiddling about with our fingers and all the rest of it, we've got to have a look at a rhythm first. So what I'm going to do today is show you how to play a 12-bar blues in A. All of this course is going to be in the key of A. So let me show you what the rhythm is, how to play it, and then I'll show you some little tricks you can do to liven it up just a bit, and then I'll show you some intros and some endings too. So let's get going. Alright, so here are the shapes. So if you put your first finger on the 5th fret here of the low E, and then your second finger, this might feel a bit weird, on the 7th fret of the A string. It's basically like a little power chord, that. Now, here's the tricky thing. You're going to hammer on, or you're going to add your little finger to the 9th fret. There's a big stretch, isn't it? 9th fret here on the A string. And we're trying to do this. All right, that's the first shape. Don't worry about the rhythm. I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, so if it hurts your fingers, just take it off. You don't want to damage your fingers. Okay, so now that note is an A, so that's where we're going to start here, A. So, next shape we're going to do is exactly the same thing, but you just move down the set of strings. You've got your first finger now on the 5th fret of the A, and your second finger on the 7th fret of the D, all right? And you're going to add, this time, your little finger to the 9th fret here on the D string, all right? So you got... Alright, that's the D, okay, so D chords, so far we've got A, D, and then we're going to, for the E, move up 2 frets and do exactly the same as you did there, basically. So now you've got 7 on the A, 9 on the D, and your little finger is going to that 11 on the A here. That might feel a bit easier now. Because, you know, it's not so far to stretch, which is quite cool. Right, there we go. That's the shapes. So A, D, and then move that shape up. All right, now you might notice when you're playing this D and the E, you might get that kind of sound going on. And what you can do to stop that is if you put your first finger just so it's touching that kind of E string, so it makes that sound, and then you can, when you strum, see I'm hitting that E, but it's not ringing. All right, so now let's move on to the rhythm, all right, and how a 12-bar blues works. So first of all, for a 12-bar blues, it has 12 bars in, a bar being 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, all right. So we have 4 bars on A, all right? So let me do that for you. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and last one, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay? Then we're going to move to the D for 2 bars. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay? That takes us to 6 bars. Then back to the A again for 2 bars. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... That takes us to bar 8, doesn't it? Now, bar 9, we've got this classic kind of thing they do on the blues, which this bar 9, you only do that once. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and to the D. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that takes us to bar kind of 11 and 12. So then you can go round again. All right, now before I just do that all the way through, let me show you the rhythm I'm doing. Now you can kind of think of this, you might get that straight away actually. Some people do. But if you don't, if that confuses you, 1 and 2 and... So on 2 is when you put your little finger down. 1 and 2 and then take it off on the and of 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So on the 4, your finger's going on again. Let me do that slow and I'll count it as well. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Does that make sense? So on the 2, your finger goes on the and of 2, your finger comes off. On the 4, your finger goes on, and then on the and of 4, it comes off. So one more time. I am hitting all the strings there, but this finger is muting all those strings. Kind of hard to see that. So there we go. That's what we're doing. It gets a bit harder when you move down here. Because you've got that open string which you need to mute. But let me just play through a 12-bar blues, all right, in its entirety, and just so you can hear how it goes, I'll count it as well. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Last one. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 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 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... All right, don't worry if that's a bit of a stretch on your fingers. It is a bit of a stretch. Let me show you a few things now just to spice that up just a bit. Nothing too complicated, but some common things you hear people doing all the time. So just to spice it up a little bit, we could, instead of playing the D here, if you find that a little tricky, just go up to the D on the 10th fret of the low E here. So we're moving that A up, and basically the same thing, but we've got this now. All right, now what we can do with that is a little move. You see what I did there? When I'm playing the A, I'm playing it normally, but then I go up, and it sounds quite good instead of just jumping to that D there on the 5th fret. So what would you do to count that? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... All right, so that's how that goes. That's quite a good little move. At the end of a blues as well, you can do this if you're coming back from the E. That I just play, instead of doing, going back to the A there again, I just played an E chord, just strum that. So that sounds quite good. Another little basic trick, which you might want to do, maybe you'll find this a bit tricky, is when you're doing this, and just before you're going to go to the D. Did you see what I did there? I played nothing, absolutely nothing. So I'll try and do that in slow motion. It sounds rubbish in slow motion, but anyway. So I did that. I just lifted up and I played all the strings open. But because it's quite quick, and you can do that, as a little rhythmic thing, just to kind of get you into it. You can do it all of them on the E. And just have a muck about with that. It sounds quite cool. There we are. Hope that helps a bit. Kind of makes your playing a bit more sophisticated. Let's do it a bit more. One more thing we'll do, and that is you don't really want to start off just playing a blues. You want a little intro and you want an ending too. So the endings are normally called turnarounds because they take you back to the beginning again. But let's do an intro first, then I'll show you a little ending you can do for a blues. So this is a nice little easy thing you can do. Uses open strings. There is a lesson coming up on open strings, so have a look at that. So what I did there was I'm just hitting the open string here. 4, 5, pull off to the open A, 6, pull off to open. Alright. Now the last one I'm not pulling off. Alright. I'm going to play this. This is an augmented chord. So if you bar down, kind of cool sound, isn't it? If you bar down the 5th fret, G, B and E strings, then your second finger add to the 6th fret of the D there, and your 3rd finger add to the 7th fret of the A, and you get this. Don't hit the E string. Oh, you could do actually. You could do. Yeah, that would sound right. Right. So. Right, now that will get you into a blues. Okay, so that sounds a bit more suave and sophisticated rather than just going, you know, starting it off. Right now, how about finishing a blues? Well, I'm glad you asked. This is a classic one. So this one is a classic turnaround. Right, now what you're going to do here, I'm using my pick and my fingers. So let me just give you the notes first of all. It's 9 on the G, 9 on the high E, to 8 on the B. So it's G, high E, and then that 8 on the B, all right? Then move it back 1. Do the same picking again. That's G, high E and B. Move it back 1 more. And then we're going to change shapes a bit. Your second finger just move back to the 6th fret. And your first finger on the 5th fret. And hit those 2 together. Right, I'll tell you in the finger in a minute. Right. Now, so the fingering for that, I'm using my pick and my fingers and my this finger here, my 3rd finger, and my 2nd finger hits the B string. Now to end the blues, you can go. So that would be an B flat 7. Move back to an A7, right? And the bar chords. Have a look at the bar chord lesson if you're not familiar with that. Now, if you want to, so you could do this. And then you're finished. Or you could do this. And then go back into the blues. What was that chord there? That was an E9. That's used a lot in blues. That is your 2nd finger on the 7th fret on the A, your 1st finger on the 6th fret of the D, and then you're just barring this 3rd finger down the 7G, 7B, 7E. Alright, so you've got that. That sounds really cool. Alright, so on an A7 there. So have fun with all of those. That's kind of quite cool to go into a blues that way and finish a blues. Yeah, that can make your playing sound pretty good, these intros and endings. So have some fun with that. Right, that's the rhythm. We can do all of our examples. We're going to do all our fiddly twiddly licks and all the rest of it over the top of that rhythm. So if I were you, what I'd do is make a little rhythm track of yourself. See if you can keep that going for you know, a couple of minutes. A bit hard on your fingers at first, I know, but try and make a rhythm track of yourself and then jam over the top. And then when you get to jam with someone, it's not such a big shock. All right, so good luck with that. And we'll continue with looking at some scales in the next video.